Coming up now in your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, new details are available regarding CM Punk's departure from AEW, as well as a legal letter that his lawyers sent AEW. WWE was in India today for Superstar Spectacle, and we've got more news from around the wrestling world. Well, unfortunately for anyone who is tired of all the drama stemming from CM Punk's AEW release last Saturday, new updates on the situation were published on Friday by multiple outlets, most notably Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling and Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter. So, starting with the Observer, Meltzer wrote in Friday's newsletter that the Young Bucks had been willing to meet with and potentially work with CM Punk in the future if enough time passed without there being any incidents regarding Punk. Unfortunately, there continued to be issues with Punk and other members of the roster upon his return to the company this summer for Collision. Conflicting reports came out last week regarding a potential meeting that was to take place between the Elite and Punk, which Punk's camp say was canceled last minute. As it turns out, while Punk may have been under the belief that a meeting was set, nobody ever approached the Young Bucks about it due to the belief that they would turn it down. Meltzer wrote, "One person very close to the situation said that the Bucks had said if 6 months went by without any issues, they would have been willing to sit down and work with him." However, issues involving Punk did persist backstage in AEW, including Ryan Nemeth, Christopher Daniels, and others being sent home from Collision tapings, as well as the initial altercation involving Jack Perry. But there was another reason why the Bucks weren't interested in meeting with Punk, and this stems from a legal letter sent to AEW regarding skits the Bucks have been performing on Being the Elite as of late. The legal letter asserted that skits on BTE were violating the non-disparagement agreement the Elite and Punk signed, which prevents either side from speaking negatively about the other. Regarding this legal letter, additional details were released in a post by Nick Hausman on Friday. Hausman wrote of the situation, "One of the reasons for the meeting not happening was apparently due to AEW informing the Elite of a legal letter Punk's lawyer sent them in regard to a Being the Elite sketch, which happened around the same time the meeting was being discussed. When Punk returned to the AEW fold, an agreement was reached between his camp and the Elites that no one would publicly speak negatively about the other. Punk interpreted the BTE sketch, which was about Matt Jackson blowing a sponsorship deal, as a shot at him." And of course, Nick Hausman's website has been fairly pivotal in giving out CM Punk's camp's side of recent news stories. So if you've been following BTE, the Bucks have been doing skits where the rest of the group is mad at Matt Jackson for blowing a sponsorship deal with both Wendy's and Chili's, and evidently Punk believed these sketches were about him. Somewhat amazingly, Dave Meltzer is not ruling out a possible AEW return for Punk in the future, writing, "If WWE doesn't sign him, I wouldn't at all rule out AEW giving him another shot, as crazy as that may sound today." Now, Punk signing with WWE is something that would be met with resistance from within the company, but there are also said to be people, including one top star in the promotion, who would welcome his return. A possible Hall of Fame induction for Punk and a Legends deal is possibly on the table as well. Only time will tell. There have also been reports recently that Punk and Impact Wrestling had a positive conversation when he visited the company in Chicago this summer, and the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion, EC3, has also stated that Punk will be welcome in the NWA, which could be interesting. However, only time will tell what's next for CM Punk. WWE was in India today for Superstar Spectacle. It was the first event they have run in the country since 2017. Now, currently, there are no plans for the show to air on the WWE Network or in the United States or Canada. Still, we won't give away any spoilers from the show, other than to say that former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, The Great Khali, was in attendance, and here is some footage of him that has been posted to social media. John Cena addressed the crowd at the show as well. Here is some footage from him in India today.
You know, sometimes we feel something inside that grabs us emotionally. We feel like we're alone. I want to share this with y'all, and you can let me know if I'm alone or not, but I'm going to share it anyway. I've been imagining this moment right here for 20 years. I wanted to end tonight by saying this moment is far greater than I could have ever imagined.
There was a new update today regarding the domestic violence charges against former Ring of Honor wrestler and AEW coach BJ Whitmer. Whitmer was arrested on June 4th. Police reports related to the incident say that he strangled an ex-girlfriend, and he has been charged with first-degree strangulation and second-degree burglary. He spent 8 days in prison before making bail. AEW released Whitmer from his contract shortly after. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful is reporting that he was indicted on the charges at a hearing on Wednesday, September 6th, which are both Class C felonies. Sapp wrote, BJ Whitmer had a hearing on September 6th and was indicted on first-degree strangulation and second-degree burglary charges, both Class C felonies. This stems from his June domestic violence arrest that led to his AEW firing. There is an extended protection order in place with the victim, and AEW has continued to work with her. There is a pre-trial hearing set for October 4th. Other updates today include Velvet Sky, the former Beautiful People member, announcing that she is no longer with the National Wrestling Alliance. She had been working as a color commentator for the promotion. She wrote on Twitter, "Going forward, I will no longer be part of the NWA. I want to thank Billy for the opportunity, and thank you to each person I worked with, as it was so much fun and I learned so much from Joe and Tim on commentary. I wish the NWA my best with everything. See you all down the road." Now, no reasons for Sky's departure are apparent at this time. However, she will be taking part in Impact Wrestling's 1000th episode in the near future. Also, NXT Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton made a few headlines today after appearing on Booker T's Hall of Fame podcast. Stratton said that she's hoping to be called up to the WWE main roster sooner rather than later. Of course, she will be defending her title against Becky Lynch on Tuesday's edition of NXT. So Stratton said, "I have gotten a little taste of what it's like to be on Raw. I really would love to get called up as soon as possible, but I do know I have some stuff to work on. But I feel like at the latest I would want to be in NXT, I would say around WrestleMania time is, I feel like, my calling. But we shall see. Whenever the time is right, I believe timing is everything, and everything happens for a reason. So whenever it happens, it's meant to happen." Let's run down the lineups for this weekend's shows. Starting with on Friday, Impact Wrestling presents Victory Road from White Plains, New York in the Westchester County Center. Let's run down the lineup for that show. Alan Angels has put out an open challenge for the pre-show. Ace Austin and Chris Bay will take on the team of Moose and Brian Myers. Trinity will defend the Knockouts World Championship against Alicia Edwards. We will see Deonna Purrazzo take on the returning Jordan Grace. And in a match that I'm looking forward to for the X Division title, Lio Rush defends against Kushida. For the Impact World Tag Team titles, the Rascals defend against the Motor City Machine Guns. That should be pretty good too. In a title versus career match, Impact Digital Media champion Kenny King will put his title on the line against Tommy Dreamer. So if Tommy Dreamer loses this match on Friday night, he must retire from in-ring competition. Josh Alexander will face Steve Macklin in one-on-one action. An Anything Goes match has Bully Ray versus PCO. For the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, we will see MK Ultra, that's the team of Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich, defending against the Shantaraj, Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans. We will also see a match between two former members of Decay, Crazy Steve and Black Taurus. And then WWE presents SmackDown tonight from the TD Garden in Boston. WrestleTix currently says that just under 12,000 tickets have been distributed to this show, so they should have a good crowd there in Boston tonight. 3 matches are scheduled to take place on the show. AJ Styles against Jey Uso. Charlotte Flair and Shotzi are going to team up to take on Damage Control's Bayley and Io Sky. And also on the show, the new undisputed tag team champions from Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They are going to take on Ridge Holland and Butch. Then we go to AEW, where Rampage will air tonight. The lineup for that show has 2 Grand Slam World Title Eliminator Tournament quarterfinals. Samoa Joe taking on Jeff Hardy, and Penta El Zero Miedo versus Jay Lethal. Also on tonight's show, the Young Bucks will take on Matt Menard and Angelo Parker. Then on Saturday, AEW will present Collision from Cleveland's Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And here are the matches that are announced for that show. We will see 2 semifinal matches in the Grand Slam World Title Eliminator Tournament, with Darby Allin facing Roderick Strong, and the winner of Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy facing the winner of Penta El Zero Miedo and Jay Lethal. AEW International Champion Jon Moxley will defend his title against Action Andretti, and also announced for the show is Bullet Club Gold in action. We will hear from Bryan Danielson. We will also hear from Saraya and Ruby Soho and The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, and that's going to do it for your Wrestling News Rundown.